Hi guys, Martial Arts Monk here. Apologize for the clickbaity title, but I think it's an important thing to discuss because there is this very common lie or exaggeration in jiu-jitsu especially, but also judo and any grappling art, which I think we should look at. And I think pulling from my knowledge of historical European manuals, particularly some of the wrestling manuals, we can sort of get the qualifier to this lie that makes it true. Because it's not a lie, it's just not fully true. Which, again, the monk comes out and says, that's a lie. But this lie is that technique beats everything. Technique is better than strength, technique is better than speed, technique. Good technique always wins. And I love how Ramsey Dewey out of Shanghai Fight Club put that one time in, I think, a Q&A. Remember him saying it? I don't remember where he said it, but he said, yes, all things being equal, technique always wins. The better technique always wins, all things being equal. And then he added, but all things are never equal. This is true. Because if you think about people, yes, better technique is great. Technique can help minimize the advantages of youth, of strength, of speed. But they help minimize it. They don't take it away. I used to train with a guy who was a 340-pound corrections officer. I had him in a perfect technique armbar from side. Had him on his back, arched back the whole way, and he just smiled at me and bicep curled me back up. He was able to overpower my lats, my hips, my thighs with his bicep. Much technique as you want there, man. Like, come on. So, to get to the thing, I think Ott Jud. And Ott Jud was an Austrian wrestling instructor to the Austrian princes. In the 1440s, he wrote a manual on wrestling. And in his opening paragraph, I think he describes the better truth to this statement that technique always wins. Because he looks at sort of a pyramid or a Venn diagram of technique, where he looks at skill, technique, strength, and speed, and how they should play together when you are in an actual fight. And I'm going to read what Ott says. Ott says in the opening to his manual, every wrestling must consist of three things. The first one is skill. This is our technique. The second one is speed. And the third one is proper application of strength. Keep in mind that the best of them is speed, as it prevents your opponent from countering you. It is also important to attack a weaker opponent first, an equally strong opponent at the same time as he attacks you, and the stronger opponent after his attack. When you attack, first use your speed. When you attack at the same time as your opponent, use your balance. And when you attack after your opponent, pay attention to his knee bendings, or his hips, his movement. All these imply that skill. They imply that technique. But they also require us to know how best to fight that guy. Again, against a 300-pound corrections officer, I'm not going to outstrength him. I got to avoid his, silverback gorilla grip. I got to counter. I got to beat him to the punch. Against somebody who's a lot smaller, a lot weaker, if I grab him, he's in the same boat I am when I fight that corrections officer. So we need to keep in mind these three things. And that plays into our attacks, our counterattacks, and how we got to change our game up, how we got to change our skill. Because yes, technique is important, but we need to know what technique to use when. When do we go for the counter throw? When do we go for the throw? When can we go for a single leg versus when should we go for a double leg? When should we avoid all those and go for, Something like judo sweep, an asotogare, a sotogake, kosotogake, whatever. A hook technique, you name it. But they are dependent on the opponent compared to us. We need to be able to read the guy. Watch him. Know he's going to move. Get an idea. Which is why, be careful first time you roll with a guy, because you don't know what he's going to do. He might be a spazzy white belt. He might be a nice, calm dude who has great balance of skill, but he's a white belt because, he did wrestling for 15 years. But again, that perfect trifecta. Skill, but skill as tempered and informed by strength, properly applied, and speed, properly applied. And I think with that, we solve this lie, or we can at least fully explain this shorthand of technique always trumps strength. Because it can, if we know how to counter it. But we got to know that counter. And we got to build up a variety of game so that we can fight the bigger guy, we can fight the smaller guy and not, overly crush him and keep everybody safe. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless. Take care.